Hi everyone, welcome back to Bible in a Year. My name is Natalie and today we're on day 148. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope your day is going fantastic. We are going to be reading out of Deuteronomy chapter 4, Isaiah chapter 36, Matthew chapter 24 verses 29 through 51, and then we're going to close out the day with Psalm 89, but only verses 1 through 4. So let's get started with Deuteronomy chapter 4. All right, here we go. Now, Israel, listen to the statutes and to the ordinances which I teach you, to do them, that you may live and go in and possess the land which Yahweh, the God of your fathers, gives you. You shall not add to the word which I command you, neither shall you take away from it, that you may keep the commandments of Yahweh your God which I command you. Your eyes have seen what Yahweh did because of Baal Peor, for Yahweh your God has destroyed all the men who followed Baal Peor from among you. But you who were faithful to Yahweh your God are all alive today. Behold, I have taught you statutes and ordinances, even as Yahweh my God commanded me, that you should do so in the middle of the land where you go in to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the peoples, who shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what great nation is there that has a God so near to them as Yahweh our God is whenever we call on him? What great nation is there that has statutes and ordinances so righteous as all this law which I set before you today? Only be careful and keep your soul diligently, lest you forget the things which your eyes saw, and lest they depart from your heart all the days of your life. But make them known to your children and your children's children, the day that you stood before Yahweh your God in Horeb, when Yahweh said to me, assemble the people to me, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they live on the earth, and that they may teach their children. You came near and stood under the mountain. The mountain burned with fire to the heart of the sky, with darkness, a cloud, and thick darkness. Yahweh spoke to you out of the middle of the fire. You heard the voice of words, but you saw no form. You only heard a voice. He declared to you his covenant, which he commanded you to perform, even the 10 Commandments. He wrote them on 2 stone tablets. Yahweh commanded me at that time to teach you statutes and ordinances, that you might do them in the land where you go over to possess it. Be very careful, for you saw no kind of form on the day that Yahweh spoke to you in Horeb out of the middle of the fire, lest you corrupt yourselves and make yourselves a carved image in the form of any figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any animal that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged bird that flies in the sky, the likeness of anything that creeps on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the water under the earth, and lest you lift up your eyes to the sky, and when you see the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the army of the sky, you are drawn away and worship them and serve them, which Yahweh your God has allotted to all the people under the whole sky. But Yahweh has taken you and brought you out of the iron furnace out of Egypt, to be to him a people of inheritance as it is today. Furthermore, Yahweh was angry with me for your sakes, and swore that I should not go over the Jordan, and that I should not go into that good land which Yahweh your God gives you for an inheritance. But I must die in this land. I must not go over the Jordan, but you shall go over and possess that good land. Be careful, lest you forget the covenant of Yahweh your God, which he made with you, and make yourselves a carved image in the form of anything which Yahweh your God has forbidden you. For Yahweh your God is a devouring fire, a jealous God. When you father children and children's children, and you have been long in the land, and then corrupt yourselves, and make a carved image in the form of anything, and do that which is evil in Yahweh your God's sight to provide him anger, I call heaven and earth to witness against you today that you will soon utterly perish from off the land which you go over the Jordan to possess it. You will not prolong your days on it, but will utterly be destroyed. Yahweh will scatter you among the peoples, and you will be left few in number among the nations where Yahweh will lead you away. There you will serve gods, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see nor hear nor eat nor smell. But from there you shall seek Yahweh your God, and you will find him when you search after him with all your heart and with all your soul. When you are in oppression, and all these things have come on you, in the latter days you shall return to Yahweh your God and listen to his voice. For Yahweh your God is a merciful God. He will not fail you, nor destroy you, nor forget the covenant of your fathers which he swore to them. For ask now of the days that are past, which were before you, since the day that God created man on the earth, and from the one end of the sky to the other, whether there has been anything as great as this thing is, or has been heard like it. Did a people ever hear the voice of God speaking out of the middle of fire, as you have heard, and live? Or has God tried to go and take a nation for himself from among other nations, by trials, by signs, by wonders, by war, by a mighty hand, by an outstretched arm, and by great terrors, according to all that Yahweh your God did for you in Egypt before your eyes? It was shown to you that you might know that Yahweh is God. There is no one else beside him. Out of heaven he made you to hear his voice, that he might instruct you. On earth he made you to see his great fire, and you heard his words out of the middle of the fire. Because he loved your fathers, therefore he chose their offspring after them, and brought you out with his presence, with his great power out of Egypt, to drive out nations from before you, greater and mightier than you, to bring you in, to give you their land for an inheritance, as it is today. Know therefore today, and take heart, that Yahweh himself is God in heaven above and on the earth beneath. There is no one else. You shall keep his statutes and his commandments, which I command you today, that it may go well with you and with your children after you, and that you may prolong your days in the land which Yahweh your God gives you for all time. Then Moses set apart 3 cities beyond the Jordan toward the sunrise, that the manslayer might flee there, who kills his neighbor unintentionally and didn't hate him in the past, and that fleeing to one of these cities he might live. Bezer in the wilderness, in the plain country, for the Reubenites, and Ramoth in Gilead for the Gadites, and Golan in Bashan for the Manassites. This is the law which Moses set before the children of Israel. These are the testimonies and the statutes and the ordinances which Moses spoke to the children of Israel when they came out of Egypt, beyond the Jordan, in the valley opposite Beth Peor, in the land of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who lived at Heshbon, whom Moses and the children of Israel struck when they came out of Egypt. They took possession of his land and the land of Og, king of Bashan, the 2 kings of the Amorites, who were beyond the Jordan toward the sunrise, from Aroer, which is on the edge of the valley of the Arnon, even to Mount Zion, also called Hermon. And all the and all the Arabah beyond the Jordan eastward, even to the sea of Arabah under the slopes of Pisgah. 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 My goodness, can you imagine? I'm sorry, it is so humid here. I didn't even realize that I was sweating. I'm sorry, that's so gross. Can you imagine Moses knowing he is not going to get this land? He is not going to get to cross over to this land because God became angry with Moses because of what the Israelites did. Oh my gosh, I just I have a hard time wrapping my head around that around that scene. And then Moses talking to the children. It's almost like did I say his children? Moses talking to the children of Israel. It's almost like he's talking to his children as they are moving out of the house. Be sure to do this, be sure to do that, be sure to do this, be sure to do that, because he's not going. So, yeah, pretty amazing. But I might have to re-record. It is so humid, and the sky is so white with fog. It's a really weird day. And then if the breeze blows, it's blowing the ocean wind, which is icy cold. So it's really bizarre. I actually don't know if I should go into work or not. Being landscaping again. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the yards will be fine without me. Isaiah chapter 36. Let's just keep going. Just let me know if I'm sweating, okay? Just like tap on the screen or something. Here we go. Now, in the 14th year of King Hezekiah, Sennacherib, king of Assyria, attacked all of the fortified cities of Judah and captured them. The king of Assyria sent Rabshakeh from Lachish to Jerusalem to King Hezekiah with a large army. He stood by the aqueduct from the upper pool in the Fuller's Field Highway. Then Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, who was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and Joah the son of Asaph, the recorder, came out to him. Rabshakeh said to them, "Now tell Hezekiah, the great king, the king of Assyria says, what confidence is this in which you trust? I say that your counsel and strength for the war are only vain words. Now in whom do you trust, that you have rebelled against me? Behold, you trust in the staff of this bruised reed, even in Egypt, which if a man leans on it, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh king of Egypt to all who trust in him. But if you tell me, we trust in Yahweh our God, isn't that he whose high places and whose altars Hezekiah has taken away, and has said to Judah and to Jerusalem, you shall worship before this altar? Now therefore, please make a pledge to my master, the king of Assyria, and I will give you 2,000 horses, if you are able on your part to set riders on them. How then can you turn away the face of one captain of the least of my master's servants, and put your trust in Egypt for chariots and for horsemen? Have I come up now without Yahweh against this land to destroy it? Yahweh said to me, go up against this land and destroy it." Then Eliakim, Shebna, and Joah said to Rabshakeh, "Please speak to your servants in Aramaic, for we understand it. Don't speak to us in the Jews' language, in the hearing of the people who are on the wall." But Rabshakeh said, Has my master sent me only to your master and to you to speak these words, and not to the men who sit on the wall, who will eat their own dung and drink their own urine with you? Then Rabshakeh stood and called out with a loud voice in the Jews' language and said, Hear the words of the great king, the king of Assyria. The king says, Don't let Hezekiah deceive you, for he will not be able to deliver you. Don't let Hezekiah make you trust in Yahweh, saying, Yahweh will surely deliver us. This city won't be given into the hand of the king of Assyria. Don't listen to Hezekiah, for the king of Assyria says, Make your peace with me and come out to me, and each of you eat from his vine, and each one from his fig tree, and each one of you drink the waters of his own cistern, until I come and take you away to a land like your own land, a land of grain and new wine, a land of bread and vineyards. Beware, lest Hezekiah persuade you, saying, Yahweh will deliver us. Have any of the gods of the nations delivered their lands from the hand of the king of Assyria? Where are the gods of Hamath and Arpad? Where are the gods of Sepharvaim? Have they delivered Samaria from my hand? Who are they among all the gods of these countries that have delivered their country out of my hand, that Yahweh should deliver Jerusalem out of my hand? But they remained silent and said nothing in reply, for the king's commandment was, Don't answer him. Then Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, who was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and Joah the son of Asaph the recorder, came to Hezekiah with their clothes torn, and told him the words of Rabshakeh. Oh dear. Okay, Matthew 24, verses 29 through 51. All right, Jesus is still talking. But immediately after the suffering of those days, the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, the stars will fall from the sky, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. And then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky. Then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of the sky with power and great glory. He will send out his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they will gather together his chosen ones from the four winds, from one end of the sky to the other. Now from the fig tree learn this parable. When its branch has now become tender and produces its leaves, you know that the summer is near. Even so, you also, when you see these things, know that he is near, even at the doors. Most certainly, I tell you, this generation will not pass away until all things are accomplished. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. But no one knows of that day and hour, not even the angels of heaven, but my Father only. As the days of Noah were, so will the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in those days which were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, they were marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ship. And they didn't know until the flood came and took them all away. So will the coming of the Son of Man be. Then 2 men will be in the field, one will be taken and one will be left. 2 women will be grinding at the mill, and one will be taken and one will be left. Watch therefore, for you don't know in what hour your Lord comes. But know this, that if the master of the house had known in what watch of the night the thief was coming, he would have watched and would not have allowed his house to be broken into. Therefore also be ready, for in an hour that you don't expect, the Son of Man will come. Who then is the faithful and wise servant whom his Lord has set over his household to give them their food in due season. Blessed is that servant whom his Lord finds doing so when he comes. Most certainly, I tell you, that he will set him over all that he has. But if that evil servant should say in his heart, my Lord is delaying his coming, and begins to beat his fellow servants, and eat and drink with the drunkards, the Lord of that servant will come in a day when he doesn't expect it, and in an hour when he doesn't know it, and will cut him into pieces, and appoint his portion with the hypocrites. That is where the weeping and gnashing of teeth will be. Oh, yeah. So yesterday, we had started reading about the end times and what Jesus has to say about the end times. This is him finishing up the discussion of the end times. And I did do a video on this one back in November or December. And I do believe that one is called End Times, or The End Times. And we went into it a little bit deeper. But, I was very short yesterday when I said my goodbyes, because there was family that was walking in my front door, and there was going to be a lot of commotion, and I just did not have the time to re-record. So I did cut things short. When we do talk about end times, it is so important that we do not get distracted by what the signs are. We had major earthquakes. Yes, we did. There's a war. Yes, there is. There's famine. Yes, there is. There's drought. Yes, there is. The signs are, I would agree, the signs are definitely here, but we cannot allow ourselves to be distracted by it. God's timing is very different than our timing. These signs could go on for 1,000 years, and we will have wasted all our time looking at the signs instead of trying to be in relationship with Him daily. Let's not be distracted by the signs of the end times. I would agree, it's interesting, but we can't be distracted with it. So, and then there's one other part, just in case you don't go look at that other video. It's verse 34. Most certainly I tell you, this generation will not pass away until all these things are accomplished. There's a lot of circles that get kind of tripped up on that sentence. And it's because this generation will not pass away. And that generation did pass away, the generation that he was talking to. When he says this generation will not pass away, he's referring to the generation that sees the end of the signs. So this generation that sees the very end of all these signs will not pass away until all these things are accomplished. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. So I'm sorry, you probably want to close up this day. I just wanted to clear that up, because end times, it is such a popular subject and everybody wants to be a professor. I guess including me. And my academic advice is to just move on. Don't get distracted. All right, Psalm chapter 89, 1 through 4. What a weird day this is today. Thanks for hanging on, folks. We're almost finished. 89, 1 through 4. Here we go. This is a contemplation by Ethan the Ezrahite. I will sing of the loving kindness of Yahweh forever. With my mouth I will make known your faithfulness to all generations. I indeed declare, love stands firm forever. You established the heavens, your faithfulness is in them. I have made a covenant with my chosen one. I have sworn to David, my servant. I will establish your offspring forever and build up your throne to all generations. Exactly. We focus on the now and what he has done. Wow, everybody. Thank you for hanging on there with me today. It was a little bit of a weird day, but we did get through it. I'm so glad that you stopped by. Please come back tomorrow for day 149. I will see if I can maybe cool the house down before I start the video. And yeah, I'll see you then. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.